What's up, guys? I'm out getting my steps in again, making sure that I hit my target for the day, and I thought I'd have a quick chat to you about something that happens to me this week. So, as the title says, what's it like to roll with a world-class black belt? So I'm quite fortunate in that I've done a lot of traveling to train with lots of different people, and amongst the people that I've rolled with several times, people like Gary Tonin, Gordon Ryan, Eddie Cummins, all at the at kind of Henzo's up at TriStar, people like Oliver Taza and Pierre, Ethan Crellinston, etc. I've also been lucky enough to roll with quite a lot of great UK grapplers as well. But I'm very fortunate to be part of Ash Williams' extended team, Chris Reese Academy in Swansea. And I travel down as regularly as I can. Obviously, we've had a bit of a break due to COVID, but I try and travel down as regularly as I can to train alongside the team. The whole team are great, the coaches are great, and all the high-level students there are all very challenging role. But let's talk about Mr. Ashley Williams himself. What's it like to roll with him? So I was fortunate enough to go back down for an elite training session this Thursday. It's the first time that I've been back on the mat rolling properly since the start of the whole lockdown. So I knew it was going to be horrible, but brilliant at the same time as well. So what's it like to roll with Ash? Combination of things really. So we had our roll. He pretty much smashed me most of the time. There's basically a lot of mixed feelings when you're rolling. So first of all, one thing is that you can't afford to make a mistake. If you make one mistake, someone of Ash's level will capitalize on it, and then the dial is almost inevitably turned against you. If you think of it like you're having an arm wrestle and your arm's kind of slipped in the wrong direction, you've now just got to get back to neutral before you can even get back in the game whatsoever. And against somebody on a world-class level, it's usually not possible. So as soon as you put your hand in the wrong place, you move your balance incorrectly, you take an incorrect grip, etc., you'll get punished for it, and you'll know about it because you'll start losing, and inevitably that's going to lead to being dominated or being submitted. So another thing is that you're usually going to come away from one of those rolls. Depends on your mindset. But most of the time you're going to come from one of those away from a roll with somebody like Ash. You're actually going to be a little bit jaded. You're probably going to be a little bit pissed. And maybe just like a little bit crushed, not just physically, but mentally as well. So, you know, you may be pretty high level yourself. You may train quite well. I'm lucky enough to coach at our gym. And I'm also, you know, lucky enough to be in the top half of people in our gym as well. So I'm quite comfortable usually getting my own way. But to be on the receiving end of a beat down for an entire, it felt like probably like an hour round, it's probably like a 6-minute round, can be quite a lot to swallow, quite a lot to take. And it gives you like a lot of questions. You start questioning like, am I training right? Am I doing this right, that right, etc. It's important to come back round and look at the holes in your game, look at the things that aren't working for you. And Ash is always great at giving you feedback or giving me feedback on that. But not only that, you always have to respect the level of the person that you're rolling with. It's unlikely that you're going to turn up and smash a world-class black belt or even do particularly well unless you are really putting in the work and you're getting close to that level yourself. So there's the physical side of it and there's the mental side of it as well. One thing that we've always got to try and do is not let it deter you. It's good to go back, roll again, roll again, roll again, and look for those improvements. Listen to the advice that you're given. Ash and I are on the same page with most things grappling-wise, but there's definitely things that we differ on. But I'll always listen to his opinion. And if there's somebody that's basically beating you 9.9 out of 10, 10 out of 10 times, and they're telling you something that you're doing, wherever you think you're doing it right or wrong, it's time to listen to their opinion, and it's time to make those alterations and those changes. So it proves something that's really, really important for all those guys that are and girls that are following kind of the grappling machine. I'm talking a lot about why strength and conditioning is so important for grappling, but it's the most important thing, the top of the pyramid or bottom of the pyramid, however you want to look at it, is skill. The skill of the athlete is going to be paramount in deciding the outcome. So in the instance of this Thursday, myself matching up with Ash, as well as some of the other high-level grapplers in the room, the skill was too much swung in Ash's favour, which means I was losing those rounds. Now, to give you some idea, I'm probably about 10 or 15 kilos heavier than Ash, and that was not enough to make a difference. Ash will be the first to admit that he's not the most physical grappler, I spend a lot of time obviously doing strength and conditioning, etc. But still, his skill level is high enough to negate it. So most important part of the equation when you're trying to improve as a grappler is your skill level. And as I say, if you've got the opportunity to roll with people of that level, listen to their advice, listen to the lessons, and learn lessons as well. So what about strength and conditioning though? Does it play a role? Was it completely useless? Should you just give up? Not at all. Having a degree of strength and conditioning makes a difference in those rounds as well. So I like to break this down into 3 other important areas, which is going to be strength, conditioning as a separate area, and then also recovery, which I'll talk about briefly. So strength plays a big role. There are certain areas that I got put in, say underneath mount, where the only thing that may have prolonged me from getting submitted, or the only thing that may have allowed me to escape or move, was purely utilizing strength. Technique backed up by strength, but strength played a massive role. So it might just be the ability to pull an arm away from your neck. It might just be the ability to push a leg or an arm out of the way. If you are lower in a skill level and you're also less athletic, you've now got 2 things against you. So it's still really, really important to back up your skill with a level of physicality. And that's going to be all of the things that we're thinking about here: strength, power, explosiveness, etc. And that might just be the difference of keeping you in the game for a little bit longer. It might be the difference between getting a last minute escape, and it might be the difference of getting out of a certain position. Thirdly, our conditioning, our cardio, our gas tank, etc. That also plays a massive role, and there's going to be different ways in which it will affect you. You've got your acute fitness, so almost in the round fitness. So things like your alactic capacity, so your ability just to explode out of a certain position. You're not going to have many opportunities to do that in the round, but a well-timed bridge or a well-timed kind of heist, etc., may get you out of a bad spot. You've then got things like your lactic capacity. So this might be when you're either, say, squeezing a submission or you're resisting a squeeze of a submission, maybe pulling a choke away from you. Who's going to fail first in their endurance? Who's going to kind of get their arms gassed out first? That's going to play a big role. And then we've also got our overall aerobic base. So how fit are we to continually do those rounds? I'll bring that to Ash. Ash's fitness is unreal for the pace that he can keep. And obviously, if you've watched any of his matches on Polaris, especially against people like Ethan, you'll see an unbelievable pace that he can keep throughout a round. So it always feels like you're catching up or trying to catch up to it. But super important that you've got a good gas tank and it's backing up your skill and backing up your strength. If you're very strong but you've got no gas tank, you're going to be dangerous for 10 seconds. If you're very skillful and you've got a 10-second gas tank, again, you're going to be very dangerous for 10 seconds, but as soon as you get gassed, the tide is going to turn. Now, the final thing, often overlooked, is the recovery. Coming away from that roll and from a 2-hour training session, the first session that I've had of that type for maybe 21 weeks or more, the body takes a massive amount of damage, and although it feels kind of good, it's that familiar ache, your neck, your back, your arms, your legs, pretty much all parts of your body are aching. It's really important to have a careful and considered approach to recovering from those sessions so you can perform them again and again, or you can do your additional training. The team over there are really, really smart with their recovery. They've got setups in their gym for recovery. They even have a masseuse on hand that was massaging some of their higher level athletes as soon as they stepped off the mat, which is absolutely amazing to have that set up. But for me, myself, I had to jump back in a car after I'd cooled down and come back to life and drive back to Bristol for a couple of hours. But what I made sure that I did was I did a little bit of light cardio work in the evening, just like what I'm doing now, having a walk around, making sure that I got some blood flow to the muscles. That helped massively in terms of the next day when I got out of bed. I definitely felt like I had done some rounds, but I definitely felt much better than I would have if I would have just sat down on a chair and started questioning why Ash beat me up so much. The next thing I did the next day was I got up and I did my planned training session. I had planned to do a lower body training session with weights. I knew that my upper body would be quite taxed from the grappling. I knew my lower body would probably be sore but able to train. Once I'd done my training session in the morning, I felt again a jump up in terms of my recovery, and then I just made sure that I kept my steps up. So one of the things that's important, guys, is making sure that you're doing some sort of recovery protocol. There's different things that are going to be more or less important, and I'm going to talk about those a lot on the 14-day free challenge. But you need to make sure that you're recovering. It's often the area that most people miss out on. They're quite good with their skill training. They might get some strength training in, etc. But their recovery is not thought about. So, bringing it back round, guys. Rolling with BJJ black belt, a world-class black belt, is super, super tough. It's fucking horrible at times, to be honest with you, but it's a great learning curve. It lets you get a kind of taste of what people are like at the highest levels. It gives you a massive amount of data to look at what you should be improving in your game and areas that you can improve on. If you've got somebody willing to give you some feedback, that makes a massive difference. Ash is always super helpful and very generous with his time giving feedback. So, really, really recommend, if you've got the opportunity to roll someone at that level, get in there and do it. And also think about the importance of your skill being the foundation of everything that you're doing, and then backing that up with your strength, backing that up with your cardio and your conditioning, and then finally making sure you've got a good recovery protocol to bring it all together so you can do it all again the next day. So big shout out to Ash. Thank you for the invite down. I can't wait to get back down again. And guys, if you want to take part in my 14-day free challenge, we're going to be starting very, very shortly. There's a link on this video. Just simply put your email and your name in the form, and I will let you know as soon as we're getting started. Have a great evening, team.